Hello everybody. I thought I'd make this video and hopefully save some people a lot of anguish and a whole bunch of money. And I know not everyone is as fortunate as I am to have a neighbor as smart as Mr. Wizard, who's my neighbor, but this guy's just a really bright guy and figured this stuff out. So this is my Apollo gate box. We've had this gate for quite a while now, and down here is my Apollo actuator arm, and it got fried in a storm a couple weeks ago, so nothing left of it. So I was faced with having to buy a new gate opener, and about the cheapest I could find for Apollo was about $1,200, and the rest of them were all in that area and or more. And we have, if you can see it over here, we have a keypad set up, and the keypad was set up to run on the Apollo gate system. Now, the reason I'm making this video, the Apollo gate system runs with the receiver, which is that little beige box in there. And that receiver is a 10 dip pin switch receiver. And the gate that we ended up buying was the Mighty Mule. In fact, it was the Mighty Mule MM360. The Mighty Mule works on a 9-pin dip switch system. So they're generally not compatible. This is a remote control with 10 dip pin switches in it. And this is a Mighty Mule remote control with 9 dip pin switches in it. Again, the keypad out there was set to work with the Apollo gate opener. And so everybody said that you couldn't be able to use the remote controls or the receiver from the 10 dip pin switch remotes or the receiver with an Apollo or with a Mighty Mule gate, because the Mighty Mule was a 9 dip pin switch, which is 318 megahertz. The Apollo was a 300 megahertz with 10 pins. Anyway, after all the trouble and all getting 20 different kinds of opinions on stuff, my neighbor Mr. Wizard came down to help me do this and set it up properly today. And he's a pretty smart guy, and he has done electronics for a living for years with the National Transportation Safety Board. So what this boils down to is, we tried to use the receiver that used to be for the Apollo gate, and it was making noise, but it wouldn't work. And he said it would work. He told me it would work, but it wasn't working for us. And the receiver for the Mighty Mule worked, and this one up here, and that worked, but that wouldn't work with my keypad because the keypad was set up for the Apollo gate. So after a couple minutes, Mr. Wizard figured out that the receiver down there worked on 12 volts, and the gate opener, the Mighty Mule, works on 18 volts, like a hand power tool. And so the Mighty Mule has a transformer that goes into the box on the Mighty Mule, and then there's a harness in here that goes from here to a battery. So the wiring configures it so that there is not a 12 volt current that goes to the Mighty Mule, because it won't work on a 12 volt current. If you hook it directly up, they say it'll fry the motor. And then Mr. Wizard came back and figured out that the receiver for the Apollo was a 12 volt receiver. And so he just redid the wires, and he ran the 12 volt receivers to the battery on both sides. And the bottom line is this is my 10-pin dip switch that ran with all the Apollo stuff. And I just clicked it, and now our gate is opening up. So I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to close it. And then I'm going to use the Mighty Mule remote control. Whoops, sorry. I hit the wrong one with my old one, but I'm going to go ahead and fix it with the Mighty Mule. And it just closed. And to make sure, I'll do it one more time. Okay, and stop it, and then close it. And the keypad that I have over there was a Dolphin keypad, and some of the Apollo folks said it would not work with an Apollo gate. Well, that's not true, and a guy from Power Masters told us it would work and fixed it up, and it did. So now the keypad is still set to work with the Apollo gate opener set. So the keypad works, the button to run the gate also works. Stop that and close it again. And so everything that we've got works on both the Mighty Mule and the Apollo setup. So it runs on both a 10 dip switch pin and it runs on a 9 dip pin switch. And it runs the open button and it runs the keypad out there. So everything works. So all of the remotes that everybody had to be able to get in and out before the other gate got fried in the storm, we didn't have to throw them away. No one had to buy anything new. Everything works because this man is really smart. So many people were saying, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, it won't work. And this gate online was $285 delivered. The Apollo gate is $1,200 going on $1,300 without delivery. That's a lot of money, folks. And we didn't have to buy a whole bunch of new remote controls for either unit. So I've got the ones for the Mighty Mule. All of the other remotes we had that were set for the Apollo all still work. So my only cost was that gate. And so far, well, it's just put in today, but it's working extremely well. It does what we want. It's got a time delay on it for people to come and go here because we have trailers that come in a lot of times. And everything's working, and all of these things are a result of my neighbor just being a really, really smart guy and knowing enough electronically that this would work. So $300 to $1,200, that's $900. That's a lot of money for most folks, and they worry of what else they'll have to buy and the additional equipment they'll have to buy and everything else. Didn't have to do anything else. A $285 gate opener with everything they had, which included a remote and the receiver and the transformer, all of that stuff, and then being able to wire the old things back in there. So hopefully you found this to be worth your time in watching it. And if somebody's out there that, you know, gates have gotten so expensive that if you run into a problem, just know that this can be done, and your other receivers besides the new Mighty Mule will work if they're properly hooked up. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.